I've got to go. I've got to go to drinks. Yeah. See you later. Bye. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Drinks with Kate. I've got a slightly sleepy, drunk bird on me today. Oh gosh, Mum's put, there we go. Mum put some beautiful flowers on the mantelpiece for us for today, some roses from her garden, which is looking absolutely magnificent. Hello, Kay, how you going? And I said I better make sure I don't stick my head in front of them, and then of course I did. The dogs have not been for a walk yet. You can hear Polly barking in the background. We've had a little bit of a stressful afternoon because one of the cats has disappeared. So you may hear cheering if he comes back during the tasting, or otherwise we're going to hope that he finds his way home. But it's the greedy cat who always comes in for supper, so we're a bit surprised that he's not around. Anyway, hi Catty, hi Matt, and Renee, good to see you. Emily and Kevin, good to see you too. I was just thinking, actually, Kay, I think it was you that was drinking spiced ginger beer or ginger ale with your that sounds great, Shell. Yum. Yes, with your gin last week. And it was amazing because I got an email from Four Pillars just today advertising their Christmas gin, which they make by mushing up and distilling gin through Christmas puddings. Amazing. And they recommend mixing it with ginger ale to get a really lovely, bright, Christmassy cocktail. So you might want to try that one of these days. Who else is here? Sharpie and Rod and Michael, good to see you. Thanks, Peter and Sue. They do look lovely, don't they? Hi, Jeff. You made it home. Well done. Anne has got her Peking duck pancakes. Good on you. Fantastic. Lovely to see you. I hope you found your wine the other day, and when I dropped it off for you, I tried to put it out of the sun. Yes, I hope that it was all good. Hi, Zach and Jack. Hi, Craig. Good to see you. How are things in sunny Sydney, sunny New South Wales at the moment? It's cold again here. We had one beautiful day on Tuesday, and then it's got cold and grey and miserable. And we found flowering in the vineyard. We found flowering in the vineyard for the first time today. So we're hoping that the sun will come out and that it will be a beautiful flowering day. Torrential rain. Oh, well, that's not any better than here. Yeah, I thought you'd like that, Kay. Thank you, Nick. I thank you for your veterinarian wisdom. You'll know, knowing my parents as you do, that will not appease them. They've been walking around for the last hour saying, "Here, Jack, here, puss, puss, puss." Anyway, as you say, hopefully he will come back. If not, whole nother adventure. So, box number 7. Who thought we would get to box number 7 of Tasting with Kate in this crazy year that we had? We're not going to talk about politics because that's all too much. We're not going to talk about anything except for the politics of making a single vineyard Pinot Noir in 2011. Robinson Pinot. Even the label looks a bit faded, doesn't it? It's not really coming. Robinson Pinot Noir 2011. You'll see that the beautiful new artwork is still a thing of the future in 2011. And just to remind you about 2011, because we have talked about it before, but 2011 was a vintage that it was, if you remember, we had the drought, and then we had the terrible bushfires in 2009, and then in 2010 it started raining. Hello, Sue and Daryl. How are you going? It started raining in 2010, and we had sort of a really nice season in 2010. We had rain at the right time and sun at the right time, and the drought broke. So at the end of summer into autumn in 2010, after we picked all the grapes, we had this amazing winter where it just rained and rained and rained and rained and rained. And then spring came and it kept raining, and we had this very strange La Nina weather pattern, which we're not going to talk about how similar it is to right now because we're too early in the season to be worrying about that quite yet. Oh, hi, David and Karen. And Michael and Nikki, good to see you. Excellent. So we had this really wet but also humid and non-sunny season in 2011, and it got written off by a lot of the wine writers before anyone had picked any fruit. So we had quite a lot of difficulty even before we decided what wine to make with 2011. What it meant was that there was a lot of disease pressure in the vineyard, and we, being on quite a nice, well-drained slope, we were able to get in and put some antifungal sprays on the vineyard early on. Hello, Andrew and Alison, lovely to see you. So that was an advantage that we had over a lot of our neighbours, and we also had the advantage that we could spend more money in the vineyard, actually going through by hand, picking out the extra leaves, picking out anything that looked a bit dodgy, just kind of making sure that the vineyard was absolutely pristine throughout the whole growing season. Hi, Sam, Paul and Francesca. Lovely to see you. Glad you made it. Andrew and Alison made it. Very good. Michael, hi. Bad years here can be as bad as bad years in Bordeaux or Burgundy, but 2011 was for a lot of people about as bad as it could get. I'm really talking this wine up, aren't I? Don't worry, there's a but. So we worked really hard in the vineyard. We spent probably about 3 times as much money as we normally would in the vineyard, just trying to keep it clean, trying to keep it going, making sure that it was as healthy as it could be and that the grapes had a chance to ripen. And we found that because it was cool and because it was wet, it took about a month longer than usual for the grapes to ripen. That meant that the Chardonnays had very elegant flavours, really good natural acidity, quite restrained wines when they were young, and they've evolved beautifully. And for those of you who've been on this trip from the beginning, you'll remember that we've had at least one 2011 Chardonnay. I think we had the Robinson 2011 Chardonnay a while back. And that wine has evolved into a very, very beautiful wine now, and it sort of got written off. Chardonnay has, though, been more accepted in recent times from 2011 than Pinot Noir. And a lot of people said anyone who made Pinot Noir in 2011 and tried to sell it to you were just taking the piss. Excuse the language. And that made me really cross. Hi, Aravind, good to see you. That made me really cross because we had a relatively unique situation in our vineyard that we were able to grow some very nice Pinot Noir, and we were able to get it ripe enough that we were happy with the flavours. It didn't happen everywhere, and we found that in the McIntyre vineyard, we didn't get fruit that was a quality that we thought was good enough for the single vineyard wine that we make from the McIntyre vineyard, which is the Moorooduc. But we got a beautiful parcel of fruit from Hugh Robinson, and we thought this is too good a chance to pass up to make a very different style of Pinot Noir from this beautiful pristine vineyard, which gives us beautiful pristine purity of fruit in a year that was really, really cool, and that just gave us a snapshot of that vintage in a really beautiful and elegant way. So let's get the wine in the glass. Some of you have probably already done that. So the first thing you'll notice is that it's very pale in colour. Very pale indeed. And that would probably put some people off right there. It's funny, isn't it, how we get so obsessed with colour? And the French always say, colour in Pinot Noir isn't important. But here in Australia, we're just so obsessed with colour. If a wine doesn't have good colour, then it can't possibly be any good. And I think that's ridiculous. So let's put that aside. Michael, thank you. I'm so jump the gun. Smell this wine and taste this wine. Hopefully, some of you have already been having a bit of a dabble in this wine already. This is what I'm talking about, Michael. This wine has got the most incredible perfume. It's really fragrant. It's rose petals and it's strawberries and it's raspberries. it's a very different shape from a lot of the Pinot Noirs that we've made. But yeah, it you look at the colour and you just go, oh no, but you stick your nose in there and it's got this beautiful intensity. But it's a delicate intensity. Correct, Craig. I agree. It is a pretty wine in all the best senses of the word. But, whoops, splashing it onto my computer. I'm trying to get a new computer like Jeremy. I don't know if you're there, Jeremy. I think I managed not to destroy my computer by swishing wine on it. But anyway, we'll find out. Don't end stream. Whoops. All right, let me have a sip. So when this wine was young, it was very pure, very bright. Hi, Jeremy. Very bright. I hope you've got a glass of this wine. Jeremy has always loved this wine. And I think that in the early days, Dad was a little bit worried that it maybe didn't have enough structure to age, and it was a difficult wine to sell when we first released it because of all of the bad press that the vintage had. Even though we made some really lovely estate Pinot Noir and Devil Bean Creek Pinot Noir that we sold very easily because there was hardly any Pinot Noir around from the 2011 vintage because it was so difficult, that a lot of people either didn't make it, weren't able to make it. So there was a real Pinot shortage. So we sold our cheaper Pinots quite easily. This wine, people were a bit, and I reckon absolutely bitterness of the ginkgo nuts. Oh, fantastic, yum. Really good with a stir fry. I think with sort of delicate Asian flavours, it works really, really well. And sheep's milk brie, fantastic, delicious. Cutty, I agree, it's got a really spicy finish. So it's not just about the strawberry red fruit. It's got this lovely spiciness and it's got this lovely weight to it, even though it's delicate. I agree, Kay. It really does make a difference having it in a Pinot glass. The forest floor is just starting to come through. So you get these sort of earthy notes, mushroomy, truffly notes. That's why I said it might work quite well with a white-based pizza with some mushrooms, maybe even a little bit of truffle. I don't think it is a short finish, Craig. I think it's just elegant. So I'm still getting the flavour of it. It's just not as big a flavour as we usually get from Moorooduc Estate Pinot Noirs. So yes, it's more restrained. Yes, it's less overt, but I'm getting these little strawberry notes, little bit of just a little bit of kind of rhubarby, balsamic character on the finish. That's really quite delicious. Because I'm not eating any food, then I'm just concentrating on the wine. And a wine like this, when it's so delicate, needs to have delicate food, or you need to kind of look at it without food first and just see how it plays before you put it with food. Michael, we didn't increase the toast on the oak. In fact, it's got a little bit less oak in it than less new oak in it than we usually put in. But because the fruit flavours were much more delicate, and the structure of the wine was more delicate, than the oak spice comes through. But there's some spice as well that's coming from the fruit. So that's sort of augmenting that character of the oak is being augmented by the spiciness of the wine. And there's a black pepper note in there as well, which we see often in our Pinots, but it's in these sort of lighter, cooler vintages like 2011 that the black pepperiness comes through really nicely. Oh, Paul, I'm sorry that Melissa is still working, but I'm glad that you're enjoying your mushroom pasta with the wine. That's very good. Courage. Yes, Kate, I reckon absolutely duck pate would work very, very well with this because there is a little bit of that sort of slightly gamey, meaty, fatty kind of a note on the wine as well, which takes it away from just being red fruit and spice and gives you, as it airs and as it opens up. Sorry, I keep kicking the table with my knee and making myself wobble on the screen. I'll try and stop doing that. But yeah, there's that lovely kind of almost pork crackling or duck fat kind of aromatic there as well, or chicken skin. It's that lovely, slightly meaty, slightly fatty character. Jeremy, thank you. Beautiful poetry, Jeremy. Beautiful purity behind both the red fruit and the spice. It's what's not said in the wine that makes it so interesting to me. Oh, Hi, Margaret. The matching glasses. What, these? What are they matching? I agree, Jeremy. It's about little elegant things that are very much in focus, and you've got to go searching for it. And I think that's what I mean, Craig, that, yeah, it's not big and bold, and the finish, the tail of the finish is quite fine and narrow, but it's still there. Little raspberry vinegar, little balsamic, little bits of rhubarb. It does almost have gamey characters, and as it opens up, you get more of that gaminess and more of that richness. So it's a fantastic match to say, I didn't say this on Monday, so you'll probably all start throwing things at the computer screen when I say this, but it's great with grilled quail as well, because the quail's got some quite delicate, the top and the glasses. Thanks very much, Jeff. Thanks, Margaret. My new glasses, I'm getting used to matching the blue glasses with my clothes rather than the purple glasses. So it's sometimes a bit of a challenge, but I think I'm doing okay so far. Matt, that sounds lovely. Pork and pistachio terrine sounds delicious. Yeah, I think those meaty characters are sort of meaty, fatty, salty flavours without too much. We talked a little bit just before I came on air. I got, I think it was Karen, somebody texted me about duck spring rolls and sweet chilli sauce. And while I think they're a lovely match, the sweet chili sauce would not be such a great match with this wine, I don't think. And I don't know if I don't know how that's going. If you've done the experiment, Karen, please feel free to text in. Oh, Angela, yes, turn the news off. Absolutely, we can't do anything about it. It's all out of our hands. We just have to wait and be patient and sit back and relax and enjoy. This is our meditation for the week, everybody. Michael, I said we're not allowed to talk about politics. No. This said we're meditating. we're meditating on the wine, and we're letting all difficult thoughts flow out of our heads. The stress is coming out of your shoulders and out of your neck. You're enjoying thinking about the aromas of the wine, the taste of the wine, the colour of the wine. I agree, Michael and Nikki. It is quite a different wine. It's got that lovely acid, and the tannins they've got a little bit of graininess to them, just to give us a little bit more texture, a little bit more savouriness. I agree. I think, and that is the thing I love about this wine. Jeremy was talking about the things that are not said in the wine. The thing I love about this wine is the balance. So yes, it's delicate, but it's got the right amount of perfume, the right amount of flavour, and the right amount of structure to get everything in balance. And that's why this wine 9 years later is still looking good. Like, it's a delicate wine, but it's aged really well. It looks quite fresh. It looks quite good. I agree, Kay, wine yoga, all over it. Absolutely. Wine yoga, wine meditation, anything that gets you through the week, I say. Kati, these grapes. Jeremy, can you remember? Are you still on? I know that it was a month later than we usually pick, and we usually pick Pinot very late February, early March. So these grapes would have been picked towards the end of March. I think we didn't go into April for the Robinson Pinot, but I'd have to go and have a look at the book to make sure, and that would make for very, good, excellent, good. We've abandoned the chili sauce and gone for barbecue instead, which would be very nice. And pate, good, excellent. The thing that's changed, yes. Yeah, so when it was really young, it was very bright red, sappy, raspberry. Alison, mine's very light as well. Don't worry, it's just the light, because I've got a black fireplace behind me and green. Hang on a sec. Where's some white paper? Oh, such good television when I go out of the screen, isn't it? Hang on. I'm coming back. It's pretty light. I can see it because the light's shining through it. There we go. The light's shining through it. It's quite light in colour, quite light in shade. It's just because it's in a big glass, and it's sort of, I poured myself a generous serve. It looks maybe a little denser than some. would see. But I'm looking through it, and it's like looking through a really pale garnet jewel. There's some little slightly orangey tints to it. And as Jeremy says, it's sort of it's evolved in the last couple of years from being this very bright, crunchy red raspberry fruit to being much more forest floor, mushroomy, gamey notes in there with the raspberries, which I think is really, really lovely. Hi, Penny. Started using a Venturi wine aerator. I don't like them for older Pinots, Penny. I think for a young wine, or particularly a young Shiraz or a young Cabernet, absolutely. But for a wine like this, you don't want to aerate it before you start drinking it, because the aromas and the flavours evolve so quickly that you're going to miss out on some of the aspects of the wine by aerating it on the way to the glass. And I think pouring it and getting just the air through the wine as you pour it into the glass is enough aeration for Pinot Noir. But, you know, I think it's not a big deal, but I'd probably not use it for this sort of wine. A young wine, absolutely. White wine, yes. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't decant white wine, I only decant red wine. I like to decant white wine. I think we've had this discussion before. Sorry, I just got distracted by the wine, and people are texting me. What are you texting me? Photos? Whose photo is this? Is it a good food photo? I hope it is. Thank you. Hilarious. That's one of the loveliest photos I've seen of myself in some time. Alison, that's okay. I understand it is quite restrained compared to a lot of our other wines. It was a wine that was discussed. Thanks, Rod. My hair. Thank you. I have had my hair coloured, thank you, and a little haircut. But I decided to keep the length, which I'm not sure whether that was a good idea or not. It's kind of driving me mad at the moment. Back to the wine. Thanks very much. Yes, I keep playing with it as well, which is terrible when I'm looking at myself in the computer. And you're right, the spice does drop back after it's been open for a little while, and it just kind of changes in the glass as you go. So, Alison, if it's not 100% your favourite wine, that's absolutely cool. We're probably not going to be able to make a wine like this again, because it was a very unusual season, and we hope not to see. Thanks, Karen. We hope not to see those weather conditions in another season, because it was pretty hard work. But I really like it. Jeremy loves it, and I think it is one of those wines that if you've got it, I think Anne's having it with Peking Duck. I think Shell's having it with her with the stir fry, and yes, chili will get in the way of it. Have a bit of a play with it as you eat and taste. Have a little play with it with some chili and see what you think. I think it'll probably make it look a bit hard and a bit tart, but it might work. I like it too, Penny, but that's one of these things that not everybody likes the same things, and that's why wine is so awesome, because as Jeremy says, Pinot can be so different. And things can, yeah, okay, Shell, good, excellent. And it is a lovely aperitif style Pinot as well. Yeah, the hoisin sauce may be a little overpowering for it, but it would be very interesting in a vertical starting with this, Craig. And in fact, you read our mind. One of the things that Dad and Jeremy and I wanted to do this year, pre-COVID, there was a year pre-COVID. It was January and early February when we thought we had a whole year of events to do, and we were going to do this awesome Robinson Pinot tasting, all the vintages. And the first we made a Robinson Pinot, I think, in 2008 and 2009, but we were going to start from 10, because I think 10 was when it started getting really exciting. And so if we lined up the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, We're going to do that tasting one of these days. So we'll give you some warning, and I think it would be very fun. But we would like to, the Robinson Vineyard still hasn't got the recognition out there in the world that we think it deserves. And I think if this is the weakest example, which some people will say, and some people will say just a different example, but you'll see if you see this lined up, and if you can think back to 2 weeks ago when we were looking at the 2012 Robinson Pinot, which was a really beautiful classic year. Craig, we'll wait until the borders open. We've only got a couple of weeks now. It's going to be awesome. Looking at the 2012, which was a really classic, beautiful vintage, compared to 2011, which was difficult, I think we managed to make a really charming wine in 2011 from this vineyard. But you'll see that Robinson purity and line going through all of the vintages from the Robinson vineyard, and it's that we really loved seeing in this wine, even though it's an unusual year, even though it's maybe not the best Robinson we ever made. Jeremy would disagree. Jeremy thinks this is Jeremy, I think you like this the best of all of our Robinson wines, don't you, Jeremy? And certainly, and when we do the Robinson lineup, we'll see the one that Dad put a little bit of whole bunch in there as well, which was really interesting, because it made for a better wine, but took us away from the Robinson style. I think that was 13, wasn't it, Jeremy, that we had the was it 13 or 15 that we had a little bit of whole bunch in there? I can't remember. I've blanked it out of my mind because I was so traumatized by it. It's a really nice wine. It's just Michael, the production differences. Yeah, so Garden Vineyard, 13. Thank you, Jeremy. And we did have the garden. We had the Robinson 13 a couple of months back, and it's quite different. Okay, hang on a second, Michael. Let me just make sure I haven't missed anything important. I agree, Michael and Nikki, that this is really fascinating, seeing how nature and site play together. So the difference between vintages and the similarity of wines from the same site from different vintages. So you see what affects the wine, whether it's where it comes from or the actual weather conditions that have taken place in that particular year. It's really, really cool. Michael, it's not a silly question. Generally, the Robinson and McIntyre Pinot Noir are made using exactly the same winemaking techniques. There's no difference. They're both 100%, apart from 2013. They're both 100% destemmed and made in exactly the same way. Same oak regime, same everything. What was I going to say? The only difference in 2011 is that we didn't make a McIntyre Pinot in 2011. We didn't make a Garden either in 2011. We only made the Robinson. So this is the only single vineyard Pinot we made in 2011. Breathe, Kate. Cutty, I'm very pleased that you're enjoying it. And Jeff is having roast chicken brush with thyme. That sounds delicious, perfect with this kind of wine. You need those lighter flavours and that lovely savouriness. Michael and Nikki, good question. The Robinson Vineyard has not yet been sold. As the COVID shutdown kind of went on, Hugh and Isabel decided to take it off the market. They weren't getting the sort of offers that they were hoping for that business. They didn't need to sell it or want to sell it for less than they felt it was worth. So they've taken it off the market. Obviously, if someone rocks up and offers them the right amount of money, then I'm sure that would sorry, Kay, I just had a bit of a giggle. I love it when people start their question with, am I weird, but? Yeah, so the Robinson Vineyard is still available for sale. We can't afford to buy it. So if any of you guys would like to buy it and continue supplying us with the fruit, that would be awesome. It's a lovely house as well, so you could live there. We could make some wine out of some of the fruit for you. It could work really, really well, I think. We could do a crowd sharing. Absolutely, Craig. I think that would be good. Nice little holiday house for you when you wanted to come down from New South Wales. I think it would be awesome. Emily, I think this would be delicious with pork dumplings. I'm feeling hungry just thinking about it. Oh, Karen, thank you. I'm glad David likes it, and Karen also likes it. Kay, I'm not seeing cucumber personally, but I know what you mean. There's some herbal notes in there as well, which I think, and there's a coolness to it. So I know what you mean. There's that, cucumber has that kind of cool green, watery character to it, which doesn't sound really great for a wine, but there's a very light perfume to cucumber, which I think a lot of people underestimate. I love a good cucumber in summer, and I think this is a lovely summer Pinot as well. Alison, that's a really tricky question. Would I say that this wine is more in the European tradition taste-wise? Well, a lot of French Pinot Noirs will be less fruit-driven and more structured, more elegant. I think that this wine probably appeals to people who like more savoury and lighter Pinots, who are not put off by the colour. And I think if you showed, in fact, I know you show this wine in the UK, they're not worried at all by the colour. And in fact, they were quite excited, as were our New York importers, to sell this wine, because they were so sick of people saying, oh, Australian wine is all Barossa Shiraz and, big, heavy, over-fruited, jammy wines. And then this wine comes along and it's elegant and it's red fruited and it's pretty and it's, so yes, in a way, Alison, but I think it still has that core of sweet fruit. Even though it's more delicate than most of our wines, it still has that core of sweet fruit that to me takes me to Australia rather than European. But yes, you could say that taste-wise, possibly. Craig, how much do they want for it? I didn't say I didn't like Barossa Shiraz. I just said that Pinot Noir is nothing like Barossa Shiraz. Well, what I meant to say was, because I do like, there are some very nice Barossa Shirazes out there. I don't like all of them. But when I go to America still, I get a lot of Americans saying, I don't need to taste your wine because I know what Australian wine tastes like. I've tasted Barossa Shiraz and I've tasted Yellowtail. And I would challenge anybody who said that to me, whether they be American or from anywhere else in the world, to say, well, our wine is nothing like Barossa Shiraz and it's nothing like Yellowtail. So maybe have a taste before you make a decision about whether or not you like it. That's all. Craig, I believe they want about 12 million for the property. So, I don't know how many people we need to get together to get that $12 million mark in the bank. They might sell it to us for 11.5. You never know, if we kind of massage them. It's a big property. It's about 100. It's about 100 acres, and there's about 60 acres of prime vineyard there, with a fabulous. I don't have $1 million, Craig. With a fabulous architect design house on it. So it is very, very beautiful, and I think they deserve to get a really good, yes, let's all buy lotto tickets, and then we'll all do it. Excellent. Great plan. Yes, some Barossa Shiraz can be overfruited and jammy, and quite a lot of Australian wine can be overfruited and jammy, and this is kind of the opposite of that. It's very pure, very bright, not jammy, not overfruited. So really nice. Penny, Donald Trump is a teetotaler. He's a teetotaler and he doesn't like dogs. So now you've made me talk about politics and two of the reasons that I don't like Donald Trump. I'm going to talk about the wine again now. Lotto syndicate. I like the idea of the lotto. Let's all get into a lotto syndicate. We'll win $12 million and we'll buy Robinson. Look, you guys get that sorted and we'll make the wine for you. No worries. It'll be fabulous. I think it'll be great. We'll be able to have our reunion party at the Robinson Vineyard. It'll be awesome. Well, guys, I've got barking dogs returning in the background. I think I probably was a teetotaler as well. Thank you, Jeff. Oh dear, this is going to disintegrate if I let you continue any further. I think I've just about run out of puff for tonight. I'm hoping that next week we're going to have a little bit more sunshine. Yes, I think that's probably right, Penny. I think that Craig, I think our wine is different from a lot of other Mornington Peninsula Pinots. Thank you for the positive. I really appreciate that. Kati, I've got no idea how long this wine will keep. We were surprised that it has kept this long. Jeremy and I were talking about it a little while ago, thinking that maybe it hasn't got a lot more in it, but I'm not sure. I reckon it might kind of hang on there for a few more years. We've got a little bit of it in the museum, so we'll be able to revisit a couple of times. If you want a bottle or two, you know who to call. I'm sure Jeff and I can sort you out. Jeremy thinks it's peaked. I think you could be right. Yes, Michael, 10 minutes for this bottle. Absolutely. It does disappear pretty quickly. I'm so glad that so many of you have enjoyed this wine, and I hope that those of you who didn't find it their favourite didn't hate it too much. Anyway, next week we're going to the other complete total end of the spectrum. We're going to taste the 2019 new release Devil Bean Creek Pinot Gris. If you remember, we had the 18 Pinot Gris a little while ago. The Devil Bean Creek Pinot Gris is fresh and bright and crunchy and tastes of crunchy green pears and all sorts of lovely spring summery kind of flavours. It's a wine that for a change, I will say, yes, get it a bit colder than we usually talk about, because it's nice when it's cold, it's nice when it's warming up, particularly if we have beautiful weather next week. If it's nice and warm outside, then definitely get that wine nice and cold, because it will open up and evolve and I'll give you some suggestions for food to go with it on Monday. If anyone's within the 25-kilometre mark and thinking of coming out on the weekend and visiting Cellar Door, we are open, but we do ask you to give us a call or send us an email ahead of time to make a booking, because we can only have a few people. Oh, Sarah, hi! Yay! Sarah, good to see you popping in at the end. I'm so glad you enjoyed. Polly's come to bark at us, so I think we might finish up. 28 degrees next Tuesday. Excellent. Michael, what about next Thursday? You just never know in Melbourne. It'll probably be 12 degrees again on Thursday. But anyway, that's all right. We'll make the most of it. Have a lovely evening, everyone. It's been beautiful to talk to you again. Thank you. And I'll see you soon. Cheers. Thank you.